Here in Florida, we have learned to coexist with alligators, and contrary to what some people might believe, alligators are not out to get us. Alligators like to eat fish, birds, and turtles, and will only attack humans if they feel threatened in some way, or if they're protecting their eggs. Usually, alligators stay in swamps and lakes far from people, but with so many lakes and canals in Florida, alligator encounters are inevitable. But like I suggested earlier, as long as you don't bother the alligators, they won't bother you. Most times anyway. It's now early May, and we're in the middle of alligator mating season. The lake in our community is man-made, but it is well populated with fish. Our lake does not have a resident alligator population. However, it is not uncommon to have an alligator pass through during mating season and spend a couple days. This year is no exception, but this time, the alligator seems to have made him or herself comfortable and has been around for a few weeks. At this point, you're probably wondering how an alligator could make its way into a neighborhood lake so far from the Everglades, right smack in the middle of the city. Well, because Florida is so flat, to achieve proper drainage and prevent flooding, we often have artificial lakes or retention ponds in neighborhoods. These lakes are usually connected to the system of canals via huge drain pipes. If a lake receives too much water, then the excess water flows into the canal and heads to a larger lake or flows into the sea. A lone alligator will oftentimes travel through these canals and move from one body of water to another. Alligators are very size conscious, meaning that they are conscious of how big or small they are. Alligators measuring 4 feet in length or less know that they are smaller than the average human and will thus avoid us like the plague. Once they get bigger, they start to feel a bit more confident and may lose their fear of humans. We have a saying here in Florida that the most dangerous alligator is the one you don't see. You see, alligators hold their breath for up to 30 minutes on average, as they use the glare on the water's surface to hide from potential prey. However, it is believed that they can hold their breath for as long as several hours. This is a problem, because alligators have been known to remain submerged near to the shore and then surface quickly to grab a small pet that wandered too close. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission considers an alligator a nuisance if it is at least 4 feet in length and the resident believes it poses a threat to people, pets, or property. Once I saw this alligator, I knew it was over 4 feet long, and the way it swam towards the ducks, even with a lot of humans present, made me feel very uncomfortable. But before I could report this alligator, the scientist in me could not resist the urge to take some proper measurements. Of course, it's not like I could walk up to the alligator and say, "Hey, can I take your measurements, please?" Instead, I would have to do it a different way. When I filmed the alligator from directly above with my drone, I was about 49 feet above the ground. So with that in mind, I got a tape measure and placed blue painter's tape at the 1 foot and 5 foot marks. After that, I launched the drone and hovered 49 feet above the tape measure. Then I took a picture. The problem with judging distances using pictures is that the appearance of your subject will always change depending on how far away you are. So by using a known scale and a known height above ground, I could extrapolate and determine the length of the alligator. So since I already know what 5 feet looks like from 49 feet above ground, all I had to do was place that measurement beside the alligator to figure out its length. The first section is 5 feet long and the second section is 1 foot long. By placing the 1 foot measurement end to end several times, I was able to work out that the alligator is 9 feet long. At 9 feet long, this alligator could easily overpower a grown man, so with the length confirmed, it was now time to report the matter to the HOA. The HOA confirmed that my report was received and then notified all residents that the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission had been informed. Nuisance alligators that are reported to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission are then reported to a local trapper, who will humanely capture and relocate the offending alligator. Now, I'm not sure if the trapper turned up, so I went back 2 days after and waited a few hours until just after sunset, but there was no sign of the alligator, even after making several passes over the lake with my drone. As I packed up and started to walk away, I saw something in the water, so I took out my camera and zoomed in for a closer look. Turns out that there's another alligator in the lake, but this one is smaller. Oh boy, this is going to be a long summer.